his reaction to Maria Steen not making the race. I'm glad to be joined now by Deputy Mattie McGrath. Good morning to you, Mattie.
Good morning, friend.
I know you're a little under the weather this morning, Mattie, so thanks for making time for us indeed. You've been vocal in your support for Maria Steen. You've posted you were deeply disappointed that she will be not on the ballot, and you believe it's a real blow to democracy, Mattie.
Yes, indeed I do, Fran. You know, we have 3 in the field now. I wish the 3 candidates well. But look, 3, I think we'll 6 the last time. But an opportunity was there, you know, to give the people, and Maria Steen put it herself, there's a hunger out there, you know, for a different voice and a different, attitude, really, and opportunity for people to be able to vote for somebody that they want to vote for, other than the 2 government candidates we have now, and then, well, the Sinn Féin back, Catherine Conley, who's half government candidate, if you look at it that way. So we have a contrived situation now with the 3 candidates that are running. But look, the independent senators and councils, and I commend Tipp and the Kerry and the Waterford, who did exercise their franchise. We always hear the term that councils don't have enough powers. In this case, they had the powers, but they failed to use them. And indeed, temporarily, one independent council didn't turn up for the meeting or joined it by Zoom. But look, I really lay the blame here as a kind of a rump of career senators that have no interest in putting themselves forward for public life. And one of them whom I and many others approached to stand himself, that was Senator McDowell, and was spent months in kind of talking about him, but chose not to go, and that's his own decision. But to not even take a phone call then, or engage or meet with Maria Steen and, you know, Gerald Crockwell and indeed Victor Byron, 3, as I said, career senators, long-standing, and they had been written to, especially the 2 latter 2, Senator Crockwell and Senator Byron, because they're a part of an independent network of councils, and they service that organisation very well, have done, but they got a letter, albeit 24, 48 hours before the closing nomination, from 73 councils who signed it, asking, literally requesting them to back Maria Steen. They weren't asking her to back her. Nobody was asking for that.
Was that not part of the problem, Mattie? Because a lot of people came out and they spoke about the aggressive lobbying on behalf of Maria Steen, and they were kind of offended by that almost.
No such thing. You couldn't see a more refined, high-caliber, decent, respectful candidate than Maria Steen.
Right. Well, I wasn't talking about her specifically. I was talking about the people who were lobbying on her behalf.
No, there was nobody doing that. I mean, I wrote to a number of colleagues, TDs, wrote a letter last week, and I saw there was no aggressive. I mean, these lads are in politics. As I said, they're career politicians. They're not newbies to politics. They were being lobbied, obviously, as they lobby. For the university panel, they lobby hundreds of thousands of ex-graduates. When they're looking for a Senate vote, they persist. There's no one more persistent than George Crockwell at the canvas and lobby and follow and harangue and shake you out and whatever. Within the lines of demarcation lines of democracy. No, that's not true. That's a total scapegoat for their refusal to allow a democratic process to take place. Nobody asked Senator Crockwell or Senator Byron or Senator McDowell and the others now that I want to talk about that could have voted independent people who were meant to be independent senator or deputies. Nobody asked them to support Maria Steen. And so all they allowed was a democratic process be enabled by allowing our nomination to be on the...
Yeah, but that notion of giving people the opportunity, even if you wouldn't necessarily vote for them in the election, you know, including Senator McDowell coming out and saying that he doesn't believe in that notion, and he went on to say that Miss Steen would not be the unifying candidate that she claimed to be.
We know she got the chance. I mean, he was asked himself to go. He was down in the manger. He didn't want to go himself or didn't want to allow any strong independent. Remember, I was late to the game supporting Maria Steen because I was supporting Declan Kennelly. We had to come to a conclusion at our caucus 2 weeks ago or tomorrow that we had when we had a caucus of independent people, politicians, that decided at that meeting that we'd back Maria Steen. So she was late to the day from that point of view. But look, that's where we're at. I mean, we wanted a Conservative voice. So listen, this goes back to basics to me as well, back to politics, that the stables that these people came out of, you know, and their leanings towards going back to the war of independence. But apart from that, that's not true for Mr. McGill. Said that he claims to stand for democracy. Every week in the dawn, almost, well, most weeks anyway, I stand and other people stand with people who are fundamentally opposed to, and maybe fundamentally opposed to what they're trying to put through. But I become one of the 10 members stand up to enable a vote to take place. Otherwise, the vote won't be even recorded. And I was having that shoulder many times myself when I called votes and didn't have the 10 and got support from people across on the side of the House that would be fundamentally opposed to my views. But that's democracy. If you don't enable a vote to take place.
And a lot of people, Mattie, are throwing around that this is a sad, well, yesterday was a sad day for democracy, and that what happened was a blow to democracy, as you put it yourself as well. But really, this is democracy at play, though, is it not? Because, I mean, it was unlikely that political parties were going to advocate support for somebody who would be opposing their own candidates.
I didn't mention the political parties at all. Yes, I'm just saying, I'm mentioning Senator McDowell was in the House the last couple of days, would not meet, would not talk, would not engage with Maria Steen, Gerald Cockburn through a hissy fit, and indeed Victor Bryan, Senator Bryan, same way, was quite angry, and others were pretty...
Well, and just back to McDowell again, he said he was not willing to propose somebody to the Irish people for election who I would oppose. So he would oppose her himself. So he was sticking by his guns there, I suppose.
There's a lot of jealousy. Both them together combined were major planks into the robust defeat of the government's two, quite depraved referendum that they were trying to put through a year ago, and they worked alongside.
It's the family referendum,
yeah. But there's a bit of ego kicked in now, and that's for another day. But look, Senator McDowell's electorate will be widened the next time because it's all the people from different universities and colleges. The councils are very unhappy. As I know, you'll be talking to Liam Brown. The councils are very unhappy at the way their roles were blocked and frustrated. So as regards the parties, it was clear from the start when Noel Grealish, would be on the same page as Maria Steen, and indeed Sean Kenny, two ministers, when they refused, to back her and were backing Heather Humphreys, was an alarming bill to me, and I contacted them, both of them, because they're supposed to be independent members of government, and backing a Fine Gael candidate. None of the two would have come anywhere from near Fine Gael. So from their point of view, when the Healy Rails decided to back Maria Steen, it was treated with, a lot of unease from the both party leaders in government. But look, fair dues to them, they stuck to their guns, and they did what they did. But look, we have a contrived situation now with three candidates, with a large swathe of democracy, of the people are denied democratic choice.
And the result of this, Mattie, a lot of people claiming that this will result in a very poor turnout, for example, or maybe spoiled votes.
We have had poor turnouts, and we must ask ourselves why. There's a strong need for change in this country. People expected to get it in the last election. Sadly, they didn't. But when you have an army of NGOs and a major public service, plus the political establishment, you need a major seismic shift to try and change that in any election. And they have, put their arms around the handlebars of power, and the army of NGOs, I call them an army, who are in front of government, beside government, around government, in government's way, writing speeches for government and doing the bidding of the government. And you have RTE in as well, as you saw a minute ago, your comment about the wages now for the chief executive after all the inquiry and everything else we had. So when you have a system like that, but it ain't good for democracy, and it's not good because we're a young enough democratic country, very bitterly and hardly won. And it's a pity when you have people not participating, and now more and more people saying they may not participate or they may even spoil their vote. That's a sad day.
Right. Would you respond to Martin Brown for me, if you would? He's just been on to me, and he says, is it not their democratic right to support or deny anybody who requests their backing, or does democracy only work if it works their way? And that would be your way, I guess you would be
I had
saying.
to laugh because talking about democracy coming from a party like Sinn Féin from Martin. It's funny, but
Why are you laughing at that, Matty?
Oh, why wouldn't I laugh? They were waiting for the game changer last week, and it was billed to be God knows what. And of course, Big Cat came down from wherever, Belfast, and down along to the party, and they were told they were having no candidate. They were back in.
Well, that's not the story that we're hearing. We're hearing that they went back to the grassroots of Sinn Féin over the period of time.
Over their vote. We hear that always, but look. I take no advice from Martin in that situation. But even Davy Dunn, back to that block, a candidate being put through. In fairness to Maria Ryan, she didn't. So look, it's a sad day for democracy. Sinn Féin are hiding behind Catherine Connolly or afraid to face the public themselves, but I'm talking about the other side of politics.
Well, they're saying that their support for her, as you know, was a way to unite the left, and they're probably looking to future elections and alternative governments.
Yes,
and the like, Matty,
they say what they like, they say what they want to say, but look, I'm saying that there's a whole swathe of, and I can't quantify, but it's pretty big, of electorate out there now who have no one to vote for. Two government candidates, one in the same party now, Fianna Fáil Gael, and they're the same as they're trying to Tipp. And then we have the left, so there's no conservative voice out there to even have registered this as a protest about the legislation when we started the other day being rolled out in the schools, and the plethora of legislation designed by the non-governmental organisations, non-elected people and willing officials, and being peddled by Minister McEntee and others here who have vested interest in the game, and it's a sickening situation.
And can I ask you before I let you go, just in terms of, again, some people are making the point this morning that even if she got on the ballot, she hadn't a hope of making it anyway.
And that's fair enough, and that's no problem. I've been that soldier. Anyone puts their name on the ballot paper may not have a hope, and they live in hope and dream. But I can tell you, she would have been an excellent, eloquent, decent, reserved, respected candidate who has a voice, who tied Micheál Martin up in knots in a debate on RTE or when he was trying to peddle those referendums. And now we see the candidates we have. One obviously is a candidate to try and change the triple lock and be a suitable president in there to ease the influence. So it's up to the people to decide about that.
Well, Catherine Connolly is against changing the triple lock.
Of course, she is. I should decide on a lot of respect for Catherine Connolly and many issues as well. She is. I'm talking about the Fianna Fáil candidate.
Right.
I'm just talking about what they want.
Could I ask you, and it's a bit cheeky of me to ask you, but there's three left in this race now. Could you support any of those three?
I find it very difficult, but I am a Democrat and I want to vote and encourage people to vote. But we've seen the whole situation with the orange order from the other side of it, and poor people say, come down my throat, like, I know a fair bit about Monaghan, and she goes, one of the only villages in Ireland that doesn't have a Gaeilge in the name, Drum and County Monaghan, no Irish name on it. So it'll tell you something, but look, they want to hide that, and the media want to hide all this, and like, again, if you look at it, Fine Gael had a candidate in Catherine, in McGuinness, Maria McGuinness. That candidate, and I wish her well, was switched off, and a new candidate taken on. Sean Kelly, for whatever reason, left the race, or wasn't in the race. So we have a very little democratic process. We had a phoning campaign in Fianna Fáil with Billy Kelleher, one of the closest confidants of Micheál Martin for decades, had put up a phony contest, Maria, against Jim Gavin, and here we're all friends then afterwards. So like a phony, it's a contrived result. And can I just say that we had Eamon O'Keefe, who I met in Brewer only a month ago. Yes. We had Mary Hannafin. We had 14 years ago the wonderful Castle Namone Far Ross and Monaco, Arthur Hoare of Chorlton, that are all over the world, would have been an excellent president, and his band Kayla Ona, and they were denied the fact that they're run either to even contest. But I'm not saying to run. You have to accept
I must leave it there, Matty, but before I go, Maria Steen's name is a household name now at this point. I mean, is there a future for her in politics?
To make it post. There's a big future for her and like-minded people like her coming with such dignity and respect and understanding of the Constitution, and there's a huge future for her in something new in politics, which is so badly needed. Not a political party, and something new movement in politics, which is so badly needed. And because the government are pushing such an agenda here, and they want to shut people up with hate speech and everything else, so people need their voice.
All right, I'll leave it there. Get well soon, Mattie. We appreciate your time this morning. Thank you. Bye-bye now. That's Mattie McGrath speaking to us there from home. He's a little under the weather, but making time for us this morning.